Okay, before we talk about continuous accessibility and automation of accessibility, we should take a look, what is accessibility? Accessibility, or short, if you read that, spelled as A11y or spelled A11y, I will refer to them with both accessibility and A11y today. So, what is it? What is accessibility? It's simple. Make your website accessible for users with assistive technologies, like a screen reader, or people who need a magnifying lens, or people who aren't capable of using the mouse and depend only on tabbing through your website. But also make websites accessible for users with other disabilities. Imagine a form and an error on this form. If this error is only with a red border on the input, is it accessible? No, it's not. Because if you have users which are colorblind, they can't see a difference on this form, because the red border is not visible for them. But it also makes your website accessible for search engines. If your website is not accessible for search engine, you won't be found, your stakeholders will be angry. And, of course, make your website accessible for legal reasons. As an example, in Austria, we are not allowed to discriminate based on disabilities, even on the web. We have a law for that. So it's like a little code of conduct in our laws. That's nice. So, please make your websites accessible. There are different conformance levels. First, we have the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines of the W3C group. There are 3 different levels, A, AA, AAA. For America, you have the US Section 508 legislation, and of course, for search engines, you need to follow the HTML5 recommendations. So, how do you test? Show of your hands who does accessibility testing already. Not that many, but a few. Do you test manually? Who is already using automation tools? 1, 2, 3. Okay, nice. So, let's enter automation. My day-to-day job at Pixelart is to do operations, to do automations. I'm a total automation fanatic, so automate all the things. Yeah. But we should compare our manual testing steps with automated testing steps. Manual testing is, of course, slower, and automation is faster. But on the downside, automation can be accurate, depends on errors on testing standards. You may miss pages or miss links. Manual testing can be completely accurate. You can get false positives in automation. Maybe, maybe not. And on manual testing, it's easier to miss a link. You miss your imprint, maybe not that bad, maybe bad. Depends on your on your law. And with automated testing, you have a guaranteed check of all links as long as all your pages are crawlable. And with manual testing, again, it's easier to find content which depends on user input, like a complex form or a complex checkout step. And in automated testing, content can be missed when automated user input is used, which means you have user input for a complex form which tackles only one case and not another case because it's a multi-step form. So, automation is not the force. You should complement your manual testing with automation testing. Repeat with me. I will not skip manual testing in favor of automation only. Please repeat with me. I will not skip manual testing in favor of automation only. Thank you. That's not only for accessibility testing, that's for all automation steps. Manual testing is still a part of your testing pyramid. So, combine them. Complement automated testing with manual testing only. But, which tool should we use? Let me introduce you the accessibility machine, or shortly called A11y, written A11ym. It's short enough to remember that. What is A11y? A11y is an automated accessibility testing tool which crawls and tests pages of any web application to produce detailed reports. That's the official description on the GitHub repo. The pros of A11y, you can run it locally. Like TDD, run it locally, run it on your CI server. When you run it on your CI server, you can test every patch, reduce the test loop, and of course, you can't test your private code. It's not restricted to open source code or public available code on the web. You can test your code in private behind your firewall. You're not depending on any software for service product. And of course, you can test authentication required parts. Have a step behind a login, you can test it too. And you can crawl all your pages. Of course, it behaves like a crawler. If we recap that, it runs locally, you can test private code, out required parts, privacy. You may not think privacy is good for you, put it on the web and test it, but if you're a bigger company, a bigger corporate, you need to mind the privacy of your code. It maybe has patent spending, or it should still behind the firewall. That's the best part of A11y. You can test your private code. So the lead dev may be a leadership conference, but it's this gives at a tech conference, so why not have a second tech talk? These slides are for your team leaders to give them to your team. So let's take a little look at the usage of this tool. You simply call A11y with an output, A11y reports, and the URL to start crawling. That's all. Simple tool, easy to use. And that's the accessibility report overview you get. You have some errors, warnings, and we have many notices on this page. Notices are not that bad. It depends on your page, on your customer. Of course, you have many URLs down there. If you look in one specific report, like the start page, you have still a cake with 8 errors. It's okay. 8 errors are not that much. Still many notices. And your detailed error report, like our image element with an empty alt text must have an absent or empty title attribute. That's defined in the WCAG 2, Conformance Level A, Principle 1, and so on. You get a CSS selector to easily find your error nose element, and of course, an extract of your code. This could be now a coding error, but this could also be a data error. Like the editor of the CMS has written a title attribute, but not an alt attribute. And that may be wrong. Maybe our devs had done the error because they are only outputting the title. You have to inspect that. That's nice. But still with every tool, you want to rely your devs on putting these parameters every time they need to use it. So use a config file. Define your URLs, define the output directory, and define the standards you want to use. In this example, AA level combined with HTML5 recommendations. And your devs only have to use that. So A11y with a bootstrap of the A11y.yaml file, and that's all. You get the same report, you get the same errors. Of course, if you want to try to test a higher level, use other parameters, all the command line parameters override the config file parameters. So still an easy tool to use. Okay, this looks fine, but it's not automated yet. So let's back to automate all the things. Our scenario today is we're running on a CI server, Jenkins, GitLab CI, Travis CI, doesn't matter. Simply on CI server. You should use a CI server, please. Test on every branch. You want to test every feature, every bug fix. And you're using clean production data. Don't simply get a copy of your production data without cleaning private data, like usernames, names, emails, and so on, credit card data, should not land on your CI server. And our accessibility dashboards are pushed to AWS3. Simple. So this is a simple script you can give to your developers. We are syncing down old reports, existing reports toward CI server, and now we can generate a new report. Okay, it minimized, that's not fine. Doesn't matter. We're generating a new report. Now we clean the old dashboard, clean old reports older than the 8 newest. Now we generate a new dashboard and sync it back to AWS S3. Simple build script, put it in your CI server. And that's the dashboard, the A11y machine dashboard. You get a timeline of the last 8 new reports, have the reports down there, with a date, time, UTC, the only valid time zone, and a commit hash. You want to know which commit your developers have tested, and that's nice. You can access your dashboard in S3, or push it to any other web server host you have to access those dashboards, and that's all. You can inspect all errors, create new bug reports, and so on. Okay, what's next? For you who don't want to use that locally, watch A11y.com, because they are creating a software as a service too with that tool, the greatest leap AG from Swiss. And we are currently developing a Jenkins plugin for that, because we're tired of pushing reports to another S3 bucket and access them manually, because we need to maintain a list of links where to put them. So we're creating a Jenkins plugin which runs A11y without that script, which has an integrated dashboard, so you see how your build evolved, integrated reports on every build, error unhealthy thresholds, because if you remember the dashboard, it was okay. But if you have suddenly 20, 50 new errors, that's not okay. So the build should fail, it should not deploy. If you have only 5 new errors, the build could be marked as unhealthy in Jenkins. In Jenkins you have 3 states, failed, okay, and unhealthy. And an idea of us automatically create 0 bugs on new errors. So every error you get in the report gets a 0 ticket. With this Jenkins plugin and A11y together, it's now continuous accessibility. And that's awesome, to be true. So, yeah. If you have questions about A11y, about Jenkins plugin, simply call me on Twitter or write me an email. That's all. Thank you.